we're going to learn how to create a navigation bar. Now, this is what we want to achieve. The home, clicking on about will take us to about page, clicking on courses will take us to a courses page, and so forth, like that. So that's what we want to create today. So the first thing we need to do is to create all our pages, all right? So I have my first page done. I can add 2 more, just HTML, right? So about the HTML, and have a contact .html, and have services.html. Great, so we have all pages done. Let's just add some flesh to these pages at least. Give this, okay, so we'll have this changed to contact when you come to the contact page. Contact. Then we would have this changed to services. Tab. Change the title to services. Okay. Then we do the same thing for the about page. So this is assuming you've created all these pages and you want to create a navigation bar that links all the different pages together, right? Okay, so we're back in the home page and we want to create a navigation bar. But before we do that, we need to learn about Css Display. So I'm going to give us a paragraph. So in a paragraph, I have forever, right? If I give the paragraph a background color, you will realize that the background color takes the full width of the space in which that paragraph is. So it starts from the beginning of the page and ends at the end. It takes the full width. That's what a paragraph will do. Now if I give, if I call a span, right? A span, that says the same thing, right? And I give it a background color of, okay, so that has a background color of teal. You realize that the paragraph will take the full width of the space it's given. It takes the full width, but the span will take only the width of the text. It doesn't go beyond that. Now this display for the paragraph is called a display block because they come in blocks, right? So if I duplicate the paragraph, you see that the next line, it doesn't stay on the same line, it moves to the next line. It's a block. But if I duplicate the span, you'd see that it stays on the same line because it's inline, right? So the paragraph has a display of block, and then the span has a display of inline. We have other display forms which we'll talk about in the next few videos, but today we're just looking at block and inline. So I'm going to create, for our navigation bar, I'm going to create a list, right? And we'll have our first list items. Let's say home. We have home, we have the home page, we have the about page, we have a services page, and we also have a contact page. Awesome. So we have these 4 things. Now it's a list right now. Let's change the background color of the list. All right. Let's give the list a background color so we can determine what kind of display the list is. So based on this that you're seeing here, what do you think the display format for the list is? Yes, it has a block format. Now we don't want it to be in a block format because we need it to look exactly like this. We need it to look like it's on the same line. So we're going to go back and change the format from block to inline. So inside our list item, we'll change the display format. So you call display, oops, sorry, no, not line. Display inline, because it's originally block. Now let's see what that does for us. It changes from inline, from block, like we know it. Let's just go back so you see. So it was block, and now when we add this element, it becomes inline. Okay, so we don't need the background color. We can let that go so we can see what's happening. Great. Now, what we can do now would be to style this and make this look nice. Okay, so we'll go to Google Fonts, grab font. Okay, I have Roboto open already, so let's just grab that. So copy, and on top we'll just import that and change the font. I left something out. Okay, that, yeah, we'll change the font family for this list. So we want to make our list look nice. So font family becomes the name here, Roboto. All right, so we have Roboto done. Let's see. Okay, now we're going to give it some spacing just to make it look nice. If you wanted your navigation bar to be in the middle, you would have to call the list, which is OL, and give it a margin left. Right, margin left. So margin left of, let's say 10%, and it moves away from the left. So you do that till it gets to the middle. But ideally, most people like to put it on the right, so we can make this bigger and have it on the right. So that's the margin of the whole list. Now we need to also set the padding of the list items so they look separate and away from each other. So we'll set a padding of 5%. Okay, now you realize that it moves to the next line because there's no more space on the right. So we'll just reduce this by 2%. It doesn't work. Okay, let's make this 40%. Still too big. Okay, so we have this on the right. Now we want to increase the font size to make that look bigger. So font size, let's say 20px. Okay, so that means we need to move this a bit too. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. Alright, so we have our navigation bar. Now we wanted to move from one page to another, and we already learned how to link internally, right? So we'll just put an A, href equals, now this leads back to the same page, so we don't need to move display.html. Right, then copy this, put this at the end, and we could just take this and use that for the other ones, right? So paste, and this becomes about the HTML. The name changes to about. Same for this. We have this as services.html, name change to services. And last one is the contact. So we change this to contact.h. So whatever name you gave your pages is what you're using. Okay, it doesn't have to necessarily be contact. It could be any name you give it. Okay, so now if I click on about, you see the name changes to about. But for us to be able to do this on every single page, we would have to copy this, right? We have to have the same thing on all the different pages. So I'm going to quickly copy this, actually just copy the whole thing. Copy. Oh no, we can't add that. Okay, so we just copy this part. And then, so you duplicate it on all the other pages. So you can have a navigation bar on all the pages, right? So as practice, you want to take each page and recreate the navigation bar so that you get used to doing that. Okay, so when we click on home, you see the title changed, about to the about page, services, service page, contacts, contacts page, and that's how to create a navigation bar. We don't want to see that line underneath the link, so we're going to change that line. So under the list items, you'd rather take the link, which is A, right? And text decoration, set the text decoration to none. Oops, 2 O's. And the line is gone. We can also change the color, right? Change the color to blue. And we're back to where we were. So this is how to create a navigation bar. We'll look at other things in the coming sessions. See you.